Every month, we're always happy to see Nancy Cogar on the show. She, of course, is an elder law attorney here in the Chattanooga area, and every month she brings a new topic with her. So this morning's topic is a little bit of a message to not just somebody who, not the individual, but families watching.
Right.
This is a delicate conversation because it's one
is.
of those topics, Nancy, that nobody wants to deal with.
Yes, but then it happens whether you want it or not.
So the topic is, when you die, and we're all going to, who is responsible for your bills?
Right.
That can become a real source of conflict for people and angst for people, so I'll let you carry the ball.
Conflict and stress and misunderstanding. So basically, I want you to know that if someone comes after you and wants you to pay the debts for your mother, father, whoever has passed away, and you're not a guarantor or a joint
Account holder,
obligor,
yeah.
a joint account holder, then more often than not, you don't need to pay that bill.
Okay.
Now, of course, the credit card companies and all that are not going to tell you that. They're actually not even supposed to contact family members.
But they do.
They do.
So
that's the basic message.
Let's give a scenario then. Let's say that your parent, you lose your parent, and you have siblings, right? You're one of a few siblings. And all of a sudden, you begin to get these notifications as you're going through the estate that your parent owes X amount of money.
Right.
One sibling might say, forget it. One sibling might say, no, 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 we have to pay it. And now there's conflict among the siblings.
Right. And it depends also. If there's an estate open, then the estate has the obligation. If the estate has assets. So before anybody gets an inheritance, you've got to take care of the business of the estate.
Okay.
So that's the first thing to remember. And I know this is complex, but it's important.
That's why we're talking about it.
So if there's no estate and there's nothing in court, like I said, and you get bills, which can be really high from the hospital, medical bills, so forth, those are not your individual responsibility.
Okay, can we take a pause?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have to take notes as we go through this class.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give a hypothetical. So this same person has died, and there are 3 siblings. And this person's estate, which I'm going to include home, like a paid-for home, investments, etc. We're going to just make up a number, $750,000, okay? But they have a total credit card debt and medical debt now that totals $40,000. No, $40,000.
Oh, okay.
So that would be pretty fair if it was $40,000. So is that $40,000 going to be paid off of the $750,000 to leave those 3 siblings $710,000?
In a perfect world, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't want to make it more complicated, but everybody's afraid of TennCare, right? So that's where they recover. And they've got priority debts. So things like the IRS, TennCare, secured debts, mortgage on a house, those types of things. Those are secured, just like I said. So I'm not talking about those kinds of debts.
Okay.
I'm talking about, say mama has a house and there's no will and there's some debts that need to be cleaned up. Well, the house is an asset.
Correct.
If you put it in court for a probate, they can sell it in order to pay those debts. And then once it's all done, yeah, they're going to get the remainder.
Okay.
But it's like a minefield on its own because, you really need to have an understanding of different types of debt. The best example is when someone just signs as an obligor on, mother's care.
You're now obligated? Now, is it obligor is different than any type of like power of attorney?
Correct.
Okay.
So if you sign as power of attorney, you're signing on behalf of that person.
But that does not make you an obligor?
No.
Okay. So an obligor would be if your mom wants to borrow some money and you co-sign?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, this is the stuff that creates big disputes, but I just thought it would be helpful for folks to have a little education on how some of these debts work.
Well, and it's not meant to be in any way stereotypical, but sometimes, especially as we get older, clarity of thought is diminished a little bit. So if you are concerned about your parent and they are beginning to maybe spend some money that they wouldn't normally spend, or take out some loans, and your thought process is, oh, well, let her be happy because in the end it'll all balance. It really won't. And if your mom should need those resources,
Right.
she's going to be hurting.
Right, because not to get even more complicated, but if they're transferring assets away for some of those things, there is a look back period. So if they need help from the government, say TennCare, they're going to look at where they spent their money. If they depleted an entire bank account within 5 years, they're going to look at that.
When people come to see you, Nancy, and they come for different types of reasons, from estate planning to all of it, how long are they typically with you in your office? Do you talk to them for a while? No, a first meeting.
Oh, about an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm not coming in taking notes about the legal issues off the bat. I want to know who you are. What are you worried about? What are your circumstances? What's happening? And then even when we finish on the other end with whatever we do, I say, I want to know if something happened. Don't chuck these things in a drawer and never think about them again.
Right.
Because somebody's going to be looking for those documents. I know we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I'll throw this out there real fast, 30 seconds left. If you are considering forming a will, if you already have a will, you have to have the original one. That is imperative upon your death.
Right, there's a presumption under Tennessee law that you tore it up, you revoked it if they can't find it.
The original one. You can listen to her podcast. It drops, I'll just say that. You have a podcast that drops every week. So this week you're focusing on this very topic that we've discussed?
Right, so that'll give a little more time to a complex issue.
Okay.
Just boomer time and don't do
Boomer
it
Time
alone.
with Nancy Cogar, and then you can find her online at nancycogar.com. She really does love to explain things, and she's very practical.
Oh, thanks.
So she'll answer any questions you might have. 596-7220. Thanks.
Thank you.